All right. So before we get into the 2025 Wave 1 features, I thought we should take a little stroll down memory lane.
Oh, okay.
So I was like looking at the number of new features, about 55 or so, 55 or 56 new features scheduled for 2025 Wave 1. And I just was like, how does that stack up against previous releases? And so I started going back and look at all of our notes over the last 5 years or so. And I'm looking at like how many features were announced like when we went through this session. And going back to starting at 2020 Wave 1, it was 36 new features, 46, 34, 39, 48. There was a 51, a 46.
Gotcha. Yeah,
But then,
right around common theme.
Yeah, right about
30,
40,
50,
50, somewhere in that ballpark. And then I somehow misplaced my notes for 2022 Wave 2. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just go to the release notes page and I'll like just recount how many are on there.
Yeah.
And I started scrolling down the page and counting, and I counted 96. And I'm like,
booming year.
I don't remember us sitting down and having to go through 96 features, right?
3-day ordeal.
And I'm like, well, maybe we missed that one or something happened. So I went to 2023 Wave 1 and I look and there's 95. And then I look at 2024 Wave 1, which was 46 that we went through just last fall or last spring. It was 46. And I counted 83. So
what wheels are turning, right? Like what is going on?
What I have to assume has happened is from the when Microsoft announces the Wave releases and the release plans, there are on average about 40 to 50 new features.
Yeah.
But then between that date and I don't know, 6 or 12 months later, it goes up 50 to 100%.
Now one would question why, and why aren't those features then added to the next release wave?
Yeah,
release.
I don't know. It's a mystery to me.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Even so far as one of them, 2023 Wave 2, we counted 51 new features. There's currently 159 new features listed on that page. So, just keep an eye on that page. I guess it's not static. I guess that's my point. It's not like when they announce the release plan, these are the 55 features, and this is all that's going to be included. They will add things to this between today, end of February, and
it almost sounds like though that it's not just the end of February.
May, June, July, they could still be updating these things.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I also noted, I just wanted to kind of one little slight point is I noticed, like I was looking at the general availability dates on some of these, and I noticed that some of them are blank still. Like, so for 2024 Wave 1, right? These were features that were supposed to be out between April 2024 and October. There were still 9 on the list with no general availability date. And five of the 6 Copilot features had no general availability date, but then I looked at what those were, and it was chat with Copilot and get insights fast with Copilot related analysis tabs. And I know those have been released.
They're available, yeah.
So I guess the lesson learned there is just don't really trust those availability dates.
Yeah, maybe because they weren't available in Europe. You know what I mean? Maybe they're only available in the United States. I don't know though. Yeah, but then there would still be the localizations.
So I think just
don't
trust but verify. I think applies to this list. So and again, we're going to kind of go through some of the list of all these new features and some of our our favorites. But I did kind of put together some highlights for us. So from a high level, we've got about 55 total new features currently announced for deployment in April or April through October, April through September, I guess, right? 14 of these are in the e-commerce category, with the vast majority being e-documents. Or Shopify connector,
which is a huge number compared to past releases.
Yeah. So and then 10 of the 55 are related to the sustainability functionality.
So big number.
So between those two, that's about 45% of the new features specific to the e-documents and sustainability kind of functionality, which is a pretty high number, especially recently. We've seen a lot of Copilot.
Yeah.
So kind of a shift away from there. And then there's like 7 supply chain management features. So mostly manufacturing related.
Yeah, it kind of, I mean, Microsoft seems to every now and then get into like little grooves. I remember when Teams integration was this huge thing for Business Central and they were updating that.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want more. And then it just died. You hear nothing about it.
All of a sudden, yeah.
It's gone. I'm not gone, but it's just nothing.
Not much more investment.
Yeah, so they, maybe behind the scenes, people are experimenting with something and they get on these kicks and they want to roll with e-commerce and or whatever it is, you know what I mean? So.
Yeah, so those are kind of some really, really high level kind of look at what's coming out. So I guess, I know that the I believe the e-documents functionality and the sustainability functionality probably a lot more applicable for our friends across Europe than maybe in the US at least today. So
we don't really need to touch too much upon.
Yeah, we're not going to dive too much into those today, but we will let's go through this list here of pick out area by area some of our favorite features.
All right, how about I start with something simple then?
Yeah.
All right.
I love starting simple.
All right. So first up, this is a favorite feature of ours: the integrate field service with service management. It's pretty self-explanatory. You can enable the integration in the integration type field by selecting project, which is default, service, or both. I think that we're seeing more and more of the integration with field service since the last update. I think there was maybe, I don't know if there was 2 or 3 things for the integration with field service last time, but
I think it was about a year ago that they just first announced
the integration,
the D365 field service integration with Business Central.
So.
And I think one of the little tidbits that's new here is that you can set up the integration to work with service management in Business Central versus just projects. So I'm really, really happy to see that because I didn't really see how it integrated with projects or why. Yeah. So now having that option to integrate with service orders and service items on the Business Central side, that's kind of a key change on how you can set up that integration to work.
All right, you get to pick one.
All right, there's just 3 other application area ones. I'm going to skip through some of those, and then I'm actually going to skip through the Copilot ones just because I know that you love those, and you also don't love the development ones as much. So I'm going to go with in the development category. And again, there are only 4 new features that are under the development category. The one that caught my eye was one called Move Tables and Fields with Data Across Extensions as part of refactoring. And this allows partners and developers to refactor existing extensions by transferring tables, fields, and data from one extension to another. And you might be like, why is that a big deal? Well, think about this. Here's an example, right? You're implementing Business Central. You've got multiple developers working on things over the course of many months, and you end up with like 12 different custom extensions in your environment. And maybe one of the developers was really good about putting all of the customer-related extensions into one extension, right? Or modifications into one extension. But then like another developer added a custom field to a different extension. And now you take a look back and you look at all your extensions and be like, this should have really been put over in this other one where all the other customizations are, right? So now you can actually take those tables or those fields and the data and refactor the extensions to move it where it should belong. So it's kind of like just for improved maintenance, it's kind of like cleanup of the apps.
You don't see that like affecting any sort of or causing any type of errors or anything from the move?
No, I don't. Okay. I mean, way back when BC Online first came out and extensions were out, there was an issue where they said like the more extensions that you have, on a particular table or page or whatever, there was some performance degradation.
Yeah.
But several years ago, they resolved that.
Right.
So you could have many extensions hitting this across the same table without negative performance impact. But I think this is really good because it's kind of like now, if you think about it, you can always clean up your extensions after the fact, even after you're live. Even reorganize everything. Like, why did we create 12 extensions? We really should have just created 1 or 2. And now you can kind of rebuild all of that and maybe into just 1 extension.
Yeah.
Right.
And I would imagine that's a common theme with partners.
Yeah.
Especially if you've been doing it since the beginning, right? Why do we have 12 extensions?
Yeah.
Well, you kind of needed to at first, but.
Yeah. Or maybe no one thought about it or they did think about it, but someone at the time thought that was a better approach.
Right.
And now whoever's in charge is like, I don't like that approach. Yeah. I'd like to have all my customizations in 1 extension file.
Right.
Okay. Now it's cool. You can do that.
No, it's cool. It's developer cool, right?
Yeah. Listen, this cool.
Oh, picture perfect. All right. Let me jump in while Ken pours his 5th beer. Just kidding. Let's talk about a Copilot feature. So let's do summarize with Copilot. So this is a new summary fact box that is going to display on card, or that will be displayed on card and document pages, such as the sales order item and, even your custom pages. What it does is it summarizes the record by displaying the top 3 most impactful insights with even more insights available on demand. So, I mean, that's a common theme also with Copilot and AI. Summarization, reading into what's there and kind of just breaking it up for you.
Yeah. I'm kind of interested to see, like, on certain types of records, what does it believe are going to be the 3 most impactful insights? Like on certain things, right? Like I'm kind of curious. I haven't seen it in action, but that could be kind of cool.
It could be, but I think the next Copilot thing we talk about is going to be
the biggest news here. You buried the lead, Michael.
I buried the lead.
You buried the lead, and that is this new Copilot feature to use sales order agents to automate the sales order taking process. And this is a
it's a big deal for work.
A big
put
deal.
It there. Yeah.
This is a big deal. Now here's an example of what it says this thing will be capable of doing. And I'm going to go through 6 steps here. And each of these is something that today, right, it would be an end user, right, would be doing these things. So first of all, 1, receive item requests from customer emails through a shared company mailbox. So you get this request from a customer for some items. 2, identify the customer from those who are registered in your Business Central environment. 3, draft the sales quote with the requested items. 4, verify item availability. 5, forward the sales quote to the customer for approval. And 6, and I think this is like 6A, B, and C, receive the confirmation, convert the quote into a sales order, and then share the order with the customer via email through an order acknowledgement.
I mean, a lot of things go around there, right? So what I think for number 4, where it's verify item availability, that should be the human verifying the item availability just to start with. And then I think you need to put that in there somewhere else where the human can verify. But who's to say it's not going to choose the wrong item numbers? I mean, or the wrong item, or put the wrong amount. I mean, who knows? Right. And if it does it all by itself.
Yeah, so there's going to have to be, right, there's got to be room for operator interaction and
there has to be some sort of approval workflow or something.
Override that process. But I think even you mentioned, I'll just comment on this, you mentioned item availability. That work, I think that I can see how that would work really well for companies who are more of like distribution, where they ship from stock. But in the Business Central world, many businesses are taking orders for parts that are going to be manufactured or assembled. And a lot of those businesses are make to order companies, and they may even have to drop ship items from vendors to customers. Right. So at the moment of order taking, a lot of times there is no availability.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to create supply, right? For that demand that's coming in. So there are certainly cases, obviously, when customers are ordering items from stock where that makes sense. But you know,
and with something like that, though, I mean, you're using a shared mailbox. If it's completely automated, what if you don't? What if it's like, you know, the one off like that where it's not applicable? It doesn't apply to whatever you're doing. It doesn't apply to what you're doing, but it's still going to go through the process because it's automated. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's potential to be a lot of problems there, especially a lot of problems for the people using it, their businesses.
Yeah, and we had one of the Microsoft product managers on a few episodes ago, and we talked about this, right?
Yeah.
And Soren.
Yep.
And Soren even was acknowledging like that, you know, there's a lot of testing going on here, and it's they're kind of having to see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas like historically in the coding, right, software development world, someone wrote code. If this, then this, else that, right? Very rules-based and structured, and the ability to replicate the same response again and again and again, right? And this is a whole different animal.
Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. Where they're going through tests and seeing and trying to, I think the term he used was like train it on what to do and also what not to do.
Yeah.
Right.
So because the AI has to be able to recognize different documents, situations, whatever. Like where code, it's not. It all has to be in the same field, same place, same everything for it to work.
So it is definitely, I think, one of the most exciting new features on this whole list. I think June 2025 is when it says there's availability for this.
Yeah.
So, and wasn't this on the last list?
I don't know if this one was, but I'm sure the Copilot chat was. And
yeah. So anyway, let's see. So I don't think it's going to be part of the early preview coming out in March.
Probably not. No.
So we'll probably just have to wait a little bit on that.
Right. What else you want to talk about, sir?
I think if we scroll through these, we kind of talked about a lot of the e-document ones and sustainability things. How about governance? Under governance, the updating of the sandbox environments. Do you want to?
Yeah, so the description is update sandbox environments to preview versions. And what this does, it allows customers to update their sandbox environments to a preview version during the public preview, enabling them to test updates on their own data and installed extensions. So yeah, great idea. I just don't know how many customers will actually take advantage of it, right? Like it's a wonderful idea and they all should take advantage of it and get out there and test and whatever. But how many actually will? That's the question.
Based on my experience, approximately less than 5%.
Right. But it's a wonderful feature and it should be utilized and used. But
yeah, and I mean, currently, before this new feature comes out, what you had to do is you could create a preview environment to see the new upcoming features, but you had to do it in kind of like the generic brand new Business Central environment. Yeah. And if you wanted to see your data with your extensions with the new preview, you basically had to wait until after the release date of like official release date, and then postpone your production environment from being updated, but allow your sandbox to be updated. Yeah. Then you could go in and see the sandbox. So what we're kind of doing is we're kicking the process for earlier. Yeah. So you don't have to wait as long to get your production environment onto.
Yeah, and maybe that'll make people want to test it out more. Quick question. I'm not too familiar with nav on-premise or whatnot. There was no limit to sandboxes and nav on.
No, when you're running on-premise, you could have 100 million sandbox environments if you wanted to.
I think they need to increase the amount for Business Central. Just my opinion.
3, right? Because you get 3 per
production environment. Increase it a little bit, maybe 5. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's 3's good, or
I see that for a lot of our active clients, we do have to be very careful about how we utilize those sandboxes.
Yeah.
Right. So, yeah.
Because you're testing things, you're trying things, you don't want to,
Now, I wouldn't say 10. I don't
No.
But 4 or 5 instead of 3, I think there is room for that. Because if you think about it, you have to have one, right?
Urban copy.
Right. One's just a recent copy backup, one for new development, one for testing, one for a preview, right? So there's your 4th. That's where we always have to make a decision on, hey, we want to preview this. So
even internally, we got to do it too, right? With our sandbox,
Yeah. So good point, Michael. You should
get on that Microsoft Think
Business Central ideas.
Yeah, Business Central ideas. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be surprised if it's not already on there. Actually, we should push for more votes.
Be hilarious if it wasn't something so simple, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well,
all right.
Check this one. You're up.
Yeah. So under reporting, I'm very, 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 very happy to see some continued performance improvements on reporting. Easy for me to say. And this one is use enhanced. I'm gonna skip that one because I'm going to talk about one of my favorite ones on the whole list here, which is use enhanced financial reporting capabilities.
Funny, they said you said the first 2 words are the same. You're like, I'm going to do use enhanced. I'm going to skip that.
You're like, why is he doing the same thing again? Yeah. So, and the reason that this is one of my favorite ones is because I have an account. I'm an accountant by trade, right? CPA.
Absolutely.
That's my that's what I know and love.
Everything
right?
you do, yeah.
So, and I know that also almost everyone who's using Business Central has to produce financial statements out of Business Central, and we had account schedules, which I love the account schedule overview page. It was great for like day-to-day accounting and reconciliation and doing quick and dirty financial reporting, and now they've kind of rebranded it. They've improved the functionality, and now they're adding like a couple new features, which I think like people who have been using Dynamics NAV Business Central for years and years are like, hallelujah, like thank you, about time, right? One is the ability for report viewers to hide empty rows. So if you have a row on your income statement, let's say, and all of the values are 0, just hide it.
Yeah.
Don't show me all these rows that have no value.
No need for it, right?
Right. You're just right. So that's an option that they're adding in there. There is also report owners can document usage of the reports and write introductory and closing paragraphs. So you actually can
like a big one.
So like basically if you create a report, right? Oftentimes for an end user or consumer of that report, it'd be nice to have a little paragraph at the top that says, here's what you're looking at. This report has been created to show you this versus this, and here, and here's how you should use this report. And then a closing paragraph where you can also put in some comments. And then you can save and run reports using Excel templates. So improved Office integration with Excel, because again, people do like Excel. There's some cool stuff you can do in there. And then schedule report runs. This is commonly referred to as what many people call a report streamer.
Okay.
Where you say, okay, it's month end. I have to run a summary balance sheet, a detailed balance sheet, a trial balance report, a detailed income statement, a summary income statement, an income statement by department, and a trailing 12-month income statement, and a cash flow statement. I've got 8 reports. I run all of those as part of my report package at the end of the month. Today, you got to go run all of those, generate the output, save them. Now you can schedule or create a stream, if you will, of those reports to have those run. Now, I haven't got my hands on it
to see how it works.
So I haven't actually seen how it works, but this is
the
like,
concept is,
thank you. Like, I love it. Like, and I think about it this way, like,
just a nav?
In NAV?
Is this, yeah.
I mean, financial reports is in BC.
No, but I mean the ability to schedule the report run.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, okay.
No.
Sounds to me like I would think this
No.
might be something.
No, they've been really enhancing the financial reporting, built-in financial reporting capabilities. And this is a huge leap. And I look at it this way. I am looking forward to the day when people say they're having a conversation about ERP systems and someone says, oh, you need really powerful, professional looking, automated financial reports out of your ERP system, then you definitely should be running Business Central.
It's the game
That's
changer.
my dream.
That's the X factor.
That's my dream. You're out at a cocktail party and people are like, oh man, if you're not running, but you need financial reporting software, you should be on Business Central.
We got to talk about some of the circles you run in at cocktail parties about ERP software. Oh, too funny.
I've hung out on way too many conference expo floors,
No, but it does sound like a huge deal, especially, I mean, it's from a time management standpoint, it sounds like a big deal to me.
Yeah, exactly. It's like these are tedious tasks that
right.
It's the same thing, and it's every month. It's recurring, right? So let's automate that stuff.
Well, it should be to the point where you can just you have to schedule. You couldn't like put a stream in or a workflow or group or whatever. You just have to schedule one by one by one by one, which would be the same thing as just running it. You know what I mean?
Well, you're
but I guess you could schedule it to run.
There's a very good possibility of that, but
right.
This is all a step in the right direction, right? I kind of look at it like what we've seen a lot in these release plans is like they add a new feature in this release, and then next release they kind of build upon it, right? Yeah. Exactly, and like over 2 years, so we've seen that with bank rec. Bank reconciliations. It's like this is the first time. I think this is the first release
that's not on here.
There's no bank rec improvements. Like they finished. They perfected it. I guess. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's been perfected, but
yeah.
All right. So what do we got up here next? Let's jump into the service management category. And this one, the description of this feature is, so it's under the supply chain management area, but it is use enhanced customer document layout for service management. The description is, you can now populate the document layouts page for setting up document delivery rules for customers for all service management docs, aka service orders, etc.
That's awesome.
That's all you can.
Yeah. So basically, like so imagine you're on a sales order.
Yeah.
There's these document layout delivery rules where you can say, okay, for this customer, when I say I want to send an order confirmation, order acknowledgement, I want that to go to this contact.
Okay.
Or these two contacts at the customer. Right?
Gotcha.
Pretty cool. And you can hit like email confirmation. And it generates the document and knows who to send it to and everything. Well, over on the service management side for service orders, the send service order confirmation functionality didn't exist.
Oh,
so you had to like print it and then go manually email it. Now they've added the email so you can say, here's who I want the service orders at this customer to go to when I send it. Or service invoices.
It's really popular with service management companies then.
Correct. Anyone who's using service management, yes, they're going to be like, oh,
yeah, finally,
yes, got it. Great. Yeah. So I'm going to go back, stick in the reporting category. Love Kenny Pontoppidan, another one of our favorite Microsoft product manager guests that we've had on here. He's the reporting guy. Shout out to him on these reporting improvements. Significantly improved reporting and analytics for the manufacturing area. New KPIs, new Excel-based reports, replacement of RDLC reports with new modern technology reports with improved features and functionality. Love it, right? I mean, more and more Business Central clients are having to do, right? The being able to just be a distributor of inventory items, right? It's getting more and more tough to compete. So more and more companies have to do some sort of value add to their items, assembly, manufacturing. So we're seeing a big increase in the amount of manufacturing going on. And so having new KPIs and advanced reports available to help these businesses,
the more the better,
is huge.
Right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
And this goes on top of the new Power BI reports for manufacturing that came out in the last release.
200, I think it was.
Yeah.
200 totals.
And those, if you haven't looked at those and you're running BC Online, go out there. You can like using the assistant setup wizard, get all of the access to all of those through your role center and take a look at those. There's a lot of good stuff.
All right, let's stick with the manufacturing topic. What I'm going to do is pretty simple. Manage document attachments in manufacturing. So right now, document attachments are now available on pages related to manufacturing. Your BOMs, routings, production order, header, and line pages. Not a crazy, how do I want to say it? Crazy, like a functionality type of a,
right.
Whatever.
Mind-blowing technology.
Right. But a very useful one, right? I mean, they're
hugely,
exactly. So
attaching like specifications, drawings, routing instructions, like detailed instructions for an operator on how to manufacture something.
Kind of shocked that it hasn't been available earlier, to be honest with you. Right? This strikes me as, maybe 2021 release wave.
You're very astute, Michael.
Yeah, very astute. Yeah, it's the beer talking.
Another one in the manufacturing area is the ability to handle production output with warehouse putaways. So for forever now, right? You're using manufacturing and you're also using the advanced warehouse management functionality, warehouse picks and putaways. There was kind of no structured way to you output finished good inventory off of a production order. It just kind of magically had to get put away.
Right.
So now you can create a warehouse put away with where it directs the user where should they put that finished good item that just got created. So, all right, again, like to your last point on the last one, not mind-blowing functionality like technology like this the Copilot sales order agents, but really useful.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I think maybe this might be the last one that we want to talk about. I don't know if we missed anything. Yeah. I'll go with optimize screen estate usage on the web. So really right now users can optimize screen estate use on the web. It's just really enhancing their user experience. It improves the layout and organization of the web pages. It makes it easier to navigate and to use. We've seen some of this in the past. I know you've dove into some more specifics. I don't know if you want to talk about them.
Yeah, just my one my one favorite kind of element of this is that the user now has the ability to resize the backed box pane, because sometimes depending on your screen size and monitor size, it takes up like almost a third
That's too big.
of the width of your page.
Right.
And it'd be nice if you could just kind of shrink it, make it a little bit more narrow. And that used to exist in the old Windows client. Yeah. You could widen and make more narrow that. So now you can do that. And remember that you made it more narrow on the page. So when you close the page and you go back in, it remains narrow. So that's my personal favorite on that little feature that you talked about.
So all in all, what would you say? You'd say it's a pretty good release with some really good versions?
I like it. Yeah.
We've had a couple duds, one or two maybe in the past.
I like it. I think there's obviously a heavy emphasis on the e-documents and the sustainability functionality, with which not a huge percentage of end users will benefit from on a daily basis. But the features that we talked about, like the user experience and application features that we talked about, I think those are significant improvements to their daily use and interaction with Business Central.
Yeah, and I've always been advocating I want more Copilot features, more AI features, you know what I mean? But after seeing the used sales order agent that it's going to be able to automate the sales order, tracking, taking, whatever, I kind of understand now why they're not putting out AI features as fast as I thought they would, because it looks to be really intuitive and really in depth what everything they're going to do. It's going to do it all. Let me hear you say it.
No, let me hear you say it. You're goading me, and I'm not falling into your trap.
He knew.